All right, welcome, guys. So let's talk about the market and what happened today. What happened so far for the week? You can see we created a weekly order block last week, and we traded into this order block, the opposing order block, and we expect a bounce was expected, like I mentioned in my previous video. So you should watch it if you haven't. And I did also mention this little fair value gap in here, and how this fair value gap in here could potentially be a problem. And it's Friday, so we didn't really see much movement. This little fair value gap held price. So we've bounced from here. It's held price. And I am looking at this double top, see what's happening. And overall, I am still expecting dollars to go into this 115 level. If it does need to drop in here one more time, it's still not going to change my bias of expecting it to go over here. But for now, we've started some type of bounce or / reversal. So I am expecting longer term dollars to keep going higher. Now on the 4-hour time frame, let's see what happened over here. You can see I had an order block, and notice how we traded from this level, the weekly order block, to this 4-hour order block. And I know that was a target. So we hit the target, and we didn't trade much higher. It's Friday, so my expectations were pretty low. And I knew better to get out. And just look at how many times it banged against this level, right? We'll go into deeper depths, of course, when we look into the smaller time frame. So let's go into it. The daily divide is on. And boom. So now let's go to the 15-minute time frame. So what you notice is that London session, what did it give us? It went higher. Then look at this fair value gap in here on the 15-minute time frame, right at this 4-hour order block that was created. Let's go to 4-hour time frame again. You see this order block right here? So we have a gap in here. So that could have been an entry. And if you didn't enter there, the market went higher again, created order block, 15-minute order block in here. This could have been another entry. Now, mind you, I was sleeping during London, so I did not take this, but this was a clean entry, and it went to a target around 4 or 5 a.m. And mind you, 5 a.m. is when it's between 5 to 6 a.m. is London time. It's a lunch time for London traders, and that's when you should expect to be taking some profits off the table. If you have not taken profits off the table, you should definitely consider doing that during that time, especially if we run into a high time frame level like a 4-hour order block. Then I have a pipe dream that the market just going to keep going higher. Can it do it sometimes? Yes. But for you to act logically in this situation, you want to make sure that you're always taking something off the table whenever we hit a higher time frame level, because that could easily cause a reversal or a quick type of deep retracement. And then if you didn't take anything off the table and put your trade at break even, that leaves the room for you to now start moving your stop loss, which is very careless, or for all your open profits to be eroded. Now, I've been there before. So I want just make sure whenever whenever you're in the trade and it hits a high time frame level, especially at a time where you're expecting lunch or a time where it's a new session, you want to get out that trade or at least take something off the table. And in this case, it ran up in here. You can see all that. Then it started dropping and dropped again and went to its breaker. This is the last up close candles before this down move, which wiped out the liquidity here. So this is a breaker. You notice how many times it kind of tapped on the area, tapped it here, went higher, tapped it here, went higher. And here, it's a fair value gap in here on the 15-minute time frame. Let me go ahead and draw that out. And just ran up back in this 4-hour order block. And then create a fair value gap here. Entry could have been taken here. We don't trade dollar, but you do the opposite in like euro or pound. Let's go on a 5-minute. So you can see again, this could have been an entry over here. This is a little entry, and then you could put a stop right here. You have to, of course, back test to trust that, but it's like a ultimate trade entry. We had a swing high, retracement. That could be an entry at the fair value gap inside a breaker, and a 4-hour order block was being created. And market runs higher, again. So that could be an entry right here, stop below here. And yeah, Friday trading, just a lot of back and forths. Then it goes back down to this breaker after news that was released. I believe the news was released around 9 a.m. New York time. And after that news was released, we created a fair value gap, traded higher again, and just kept on banging above here. So at that point, I knew that the market does not want to go higher. Could I have done it? Yes, but all of this banging around at a higher time frame level throws the odds off, especially looking at the time of the day. It's already 11 a.m. and that's London close. And it's hitting this level at 11 a.m., so I'm going to be more reluctant to expect it to continue going higher. Now, if it was retracing lower into this level at 11 a.m., then I would expect it to continue. But clearly, around 11, it hits here. And that would have been me exiting the trade, which I did on Euro. And we had this drop. But I don't trade after London close for the most part. So that's the dollar business. Let's go to the Euro. So on Euro, let's highlight some stuff real quick. There we go. So on Euro, I want you to pay attention again. This is a weekly fair value gap in here. Weekly fair value gap in here. We just tapped it, touched it, went in that area. Which is when I started expecting the market to fall. We created a bearish order block. This candle does close below this candle's close, open. So you notice this line right here. So that's a daily order block. And honestly speaking, I'm expecting it to go into here. That's my next target. But look at how the market just bounced around this level on the 4-hour time frame. Just kept on bouncing around there. And pretty much just a very stagnant day. I was still able to take a trade. And this is also a 4-hour order block because this candle. So all this going on. Market trades higher above these candles' bodies. A 4-hour rejection block. And then rejects. I wanted to actually fall in here and then potentially fall in here, but did not do that. It's Friday, so I'm not surprised. I took what the market gave me. Then let's go to so we had the 4-hour stuff. Let's go to the 1 hour real quick and see what's going on there. Let's add a daily dividers. So you can see on the 1 hour, nothing much. If you're trading 1 hour time frame, not really much in there. There's a little fair value gap in here. If I was to take this out the picture, which I used to actually enter the trade too. There's a little gap between. I thought I deleted this. This candle's price. That candle's price. So it's a little gap in there which you could have traded off of, plus a 4-hour, rejection block. So it looks like on 15-minute time frame. So on the 15, this is the 1 hour fair value gap. I drew it out. I didn't realize. So on the 15-minute time frame, this is what we have here. Now London session, it was easy trades, easy just retracement, OTE trades. You see this fair value gap in here. Market trades into that at 2 a.m. and just drops lower. It's easy liquidity to be taken out right here. If you go on the 5-minute time frame, yeah, that was easy money in London session. Fair value gap, entry right there. There's another fair value gap here, plus order block. You have entered again right there. And boom. Tiny fair value gap in here, and boom. Last straw. And we consolidated, 5 a.m. So this is how it is. This is why I do expect some consolidation during lunch. Look at 5 a.m. what happens. Right, it's 5 a.m. All this just consolidation for the most part. So nothing really going on during that time. I don't like to trade that time. And then what happens? We trade higher, and we took out London's high. So notice this was the high from 2 a.m., which is when London session starts, to 5 a.m. This is the high and the low. And we ran up higher, took out London's high, hit a 4-hour rejection block, and then we broke lower. Well, we didn't break lower. We just created a fair value gap. So since we created fair value gap, that was of interest to me on the 5-minute time frame. I think it was even more interesting on the 1-minute time frame. I want to say, yeah, because we had a 1-minute order block right here. And this is what I use for execution as well. I use it for execution on my other account. I did execute a sell on Euro, which I'll show my entries. But my other account actually added on to my Euro trades right here as well. I saw an order block being created. I saw a 5-minute fair value gap. Traded back in the area, taking out this liquidity on the 1-minute time frame. And I sold that. And you see the market just dropped and dropped. So let's go back on the 5-minute real quick. Just so we can. Oh, we lost now. Hold on. Where are you at? Okay. It's a very noisy day, but you could still make something out of it if you know what you're doing. It was definitely a tough day. And honestly, my initial entry, I didn't have a tight stop loss on this trade and that's telling that the market wasn't clean. I actually sold in here first and sold some more in here. Sold in here. I already have my stop loss above the high of the day. That's why I put my stop loss above here. And we trade into our rejection block, like I mentioned. Created a fair value gap. Ran back in here. This could be an entry. And if you have the guts, stop above here. If you've backtested enough, you felt like that was the best thing to do, then you could have put a stop above here. I did that on my other accounts, but this account I had a stop loss above here. And that's on this candle. I saw this fair value gap and order block. And also remember this green line is a daily order block. And look what happens when it starts breaking down. It comes right back there on the daily order block and 4-hour order block and then drops. And I'm exiting at the lows because I realized that they don't want to run out. They don't want to go lower. They've banged around here too much just for them to play around. Yeah, I didn't like that. So I got out of the trade. And really it's just been an ugly day. Nothing really clean. The markets were out of there. In the sense that pound, if you look at pound real quick, it just kept going higher. And I did take a sell on pound, which ended up turning into a loss. And it just disregarded what dollar was doing, just kept on pounding higher. But a lot of back and forth. So a lot of back and forth, not clean action. So it's Friday. I don't know what's going on in the UK, but let's focus on Euro real quick and see the dynamics of things over here. One thing I also like to point your interest to is this 5-minute breaker right here. These down close candles before the market ran higher, taking out this liquidity. So these down close candles right here were important as well to my trade initially. I don't want to put too much on the chart, but these down close candles here were essential to my trade. That's why I got into the trade initially. And we did this, just run higher, and I was like, I told some of my friends, man, the market's not playing fair because I know. Luckily, I didn't put a tight stop on the market, and I knew that it would eventually drop, but it's just messing with people's money. I know how many traders probably got burnt today, but it's okay. It happens to the best of us. And when it traded higher, taking out this liquidity, taking out London's high, broke down. Fair value gap here was made on the 5-minute time frame. And market drops and drops. So that's the clean part of the market. When this fair value gap started dropping. That's a beauty. So I'll say my idea played out half and half, which I was expecting high prices on dollar, which means lower prices on euro, lower prices on pound. Euro did go lower, and I executed on that. So that's a good thing. And lastly, let's talk about the S&P. That's straight higher. It didn't waste no time. And if I wish I had in mind to be a bull, because actually was clean price action. Very clean. And I did mention how potentially we could go into this level. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was going to start dropping. But order block to order block again. create this order block right here, and we're trading into this order block here. So we haven't reached there, but I believe we are. I mean, it's close to it. And look how clean the price actually really has been. Went higher, order block here, higher, fair value gap, order block, optimal trade entry, boom, one more push higher. So it was a beautiful actually entry if you're buying. I was not in that position to buy. I wasn't expecting any buys, honestly speaking. Looking back, I could see it, but hindsight is definitely great. But I actually did not see that when it was occurring. So look how we created this 4-hour order block right here. Right when we get into this daily fair value gap. I want you to see how clean the buys would have been if you were on the buy side of things. Intraday, daily dividers. There we go. Let's look at this on a 15-minute time frame. 15-minute doesn't even do no justice, but we have a 15-minute fair value gap in here, which could be used for a trade. Let's run it higher. And what is this level, real quick? Yeah, daily order block. So that could have definitely been a trade. I just didn't do it. That could have been a beautiful trade. Now I think about it. What? To the right. Let's just say right here. Stop loss here. Well, that would have been a beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. Because it already showed his hand when it started pushing this high. These highs were going to be taken out. I just didn't execute. I was so focused on Euro. And you saw how Euro's charts were. They were playing around. So I didn't have the mental capital to look at indices objectively. So I let it go. But that was definitely a clean entry. Let's go on a 5-minute. Look how clean this entry would have been. Boom. Fair value gap. Ultimate trade entry. Stop below here. And look how it's occurring around the 4-hour order block level. So, if you're on the right side of things, that would have been a clean, nice trade. All right, now I look at it, I really wish I was paying attention to indices, but I was not. The Euro, as I showed you, was a lot of back and forth going on, and I just didn't have the mental capital to focus on it. That would be another entry right here. Boom, just right up here. So beautiful, beautiful entries if you were paying attention to this pair. That was beautiful. I'm sorry, I definitely missed out on this, but it's part of the game. It's just good to, you miss some. It's good to revise, and this is how you get better and better and better. And just seeing your trade strategy work out over and over again is a beautiful thing, and it lets you know, like, okay, there's always going to be a plethora of trades. So that's the speed of the market. Just went higher, and I don't know where we're going next week. I do believe we're going to touch this weekly order block. I do believe that eventually we will start dropping in indices. I'm not really a fan of these buys going on. But if you look at the higher time, based on the daily, we are going higher. So I'm not going to. We're just gonna watch what happens next week. That's all I have to say, because we're approaching this level, and if we approach the level, I do think if we touch here, I think the buys are done, and we can start seeing the market start dropping. If we trade above this, then that's different, but I doubt it. Nothing can happen, but the way I'm looking at the market is, it's a trades here. It's time to start dropping. So that's the spiel for the day. Hope that was some insight, and I hope you learned something from it. But it's definitely an easy day if you were focused on buys for indices. Easy, clean trades. And hope you guys have a wonderful day. The account is currently at, I did take some losses today, but 105, 5%. So not bad. Let's have a wonderful weekend, and see y'all Monday or even tomorrow.